Hi, folks. I've spoken many times about how the Democratic Alliance doesn't have good policies, and many of you get upset when I say that. But let me make an example about what I mean by saying that the Democratic Alliance doesn't have good policies. I'm going to make an example by showing you which nations do I consider as to be having good policies and which nations do I consider to be having bad policies. Let me start in the United States of America. California, for instance, and New York, I consider them to have bad policies. And Texas and Florida, I consider them to have good policies. Obviously, in the United States, you can have such strikingly different policies within the same country because states are semi-autonomous in the Federalistic Society of America with um, a federation of 50 states which are semi-autonomous and they get to make their own policies on certain issues. What is the one area, for instance, where Texas and Florida have better policies than California? It is in the area of income taxes. California and New York has some of the highest income taxes, both for individuals and for corporations in the entire union, while Texas and Florida has no state taxes, which makes it one of the states in the union which have the lowest income taxes for individuals and corporations. Which other area are these two states superior to California and New York? They are superior to California and New York through their energy policies. They have policies which allow the active development and exploitation of all energy sources, including carbon-based energy, coal, gas, oil, biomass, renewables, hydroelectric, hydrogen. They are going wild in developing energy. While when you go to California and to New York, they have all but banned any development of new projects that are for gas or oil or coal. Completely banned. The only projects of coal, gas, and oil that exist in these states are old. And they are also overly taxing them. They have a carbon tax on them. What else do these other states have better than California and New York? Well, regulations. Cumbersome regulations in California that make it difficult for people to build businesses, where it takes sometimes a year, 2 years, 3 years to get approval to start a factory. While in Texas and Florida, it can take you maybe 3 months to get an approval and then you're up and running. And then there are various other costs that come with these regulations that make it impossible for businesses to run in California and in New York, subsequently leading businesses leaving. There have been many reports that have shown businesses leaving California and flooding to the south. So, where does the Democratic Alliance fit in all of this? Firstly, the Democratic Alliance does not believe in low taxes. If they did, they would have already suggested low taxes since they're in government. They voted in favor of the ANC raising taxes. They think it is more important to have balanced budgets even though South Africans are unemployed. What about regulations? The Democratic Alliance has no interest in deregulation other than removing affirmative action laws. Those are the only laws that they want to remove. Other than that, they have no interest in reducing regulations. Because if they did, we would see it in their policy documents and we would have seen them suggesting it as they're in government right now, the ANC, and they haven't. What about on the issue of energy? Also, the Democratic Alliance has not suggested anything about how we build sensible energy sources that are sensible other than the unaffordable renewables. They're not saying anything about nuclear. They're not saying anything about hydrogen. They're not saying anything about gas. They're not saying anything about oil. And from what I'm seeing, they are on this environmentalist bullshit bandwagon. So I can even take it further as to talk about industrialization. When last did you hear them say anything about industrialization? When last did you hear them say anything about how are they going to ensure that factories come to South Africa? Or what solutions have they come up with since companies are leaving South Africa because of our bad industrial policies and because of our bad fiscal policies? They haven't provided any solutions. They haven't said anything that will actually bring change on that. So it is evident that they have bad policies. The only thing that they are running on is that we are not corrupt. That's the only thing that they're running on. And I've said before in many other videos, I'm not corrupt is not good enough. It's not good enough. Once you're in power, you need to pass certain policies that are going to reduce unemployment from 45% South Africa to around 10%. And the Democratic Alliance is not that part. They're just not that part. And I don't, any one of you who watches this video and then you say bad things, please just go away. Please go away and don't come back. If any time I talk about the Democratic Alliance, you're gonna ask me about the ANC, please just leave and don't come back. Because I'm so sick and tired of that bullshit. I'm talking about the Democratic Alliance in this video. I'm not talking about the ANC. So we are not going to be having a conversation about the Democratic Alliance. Every time we are doing that, you're gonna say, but the ANC this, but the ANC that. I'm so sick and tired of that bullshit. Just leave. Leave, go away, don't come back. If you want to talk about the Democratic Alliance in good faith, let's talk about the Democratic Alliance. If you agree, you agree. If you disagree, you disagree. Let's have a candid, honest, respectful discussion about the Democratic Alliance. And I don't want to hear anything about the NC and the EFF and the MK. Please don't start that bullshit with me. I'm not in the mood for any of that bullshit. We are going to analyze and assess every political party on its own merits. Not on but this one, but that one. No, we're going to assess everyone based on their own policies. And I have no confidence that even if they were to govern the country for 15 years, that unemployment would improve. I don't have any confidence in that. Absolutely none. Absolutely none whatsoever. That's just my honest opinion about that.